want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President.
Welcome to the deep state. I remember when we first started talking and we heard the term deep state. I think Trump was a big one that was a part of that, wasn't he? Wasn't he, man, hounding everyone, deep state this and deep state that? And well, now he is the deep state. We've learned that the deep state is the CDC and the National Institutes of Health. We've learned that the deep state is the pharmaceutical corporations. We've learned that the deep state, of course, is all the lawyers. And the deep state is also all the law enforcement. FBI, they've shown us how deep they go. The CIA, oh yeah, they're special. The deep state, that's Wall Street now. Right? Deep state is tied to, well, Jeffrey Epstein and all of his buddies. And no one seems to know who Jeffrey Epstein is. I never met the man, never heard of him, right? Oh, good golly. Right? The deep state is everything that's evil. And that guy, that congressman, shit-stained Steny Hoyer, tried making them sound like they're patriots. They're not patriots, but the way he described them is actually pretty accurate. It's a cadre of people trying to keep the power system in place that's there. I mean, Pam Bondi is the attorney general, but she serves the deep state. Former politicians, aspiring politicians, and current politicians, they're all part of this evil organization, right? That Dr. Evil would just love to be a part of. Okay, so today Hillary Clinton was supposed to be deposed because, well, Congress wants to know about her and Epstein. Well, she wanted to talk. And so they actually held the deposition at, yeah, that is a Photoshop. That is AI. Unfortunately, it's not real, but you could almost believe Hillary would do something like that. Those two people next to her, they were with her today. She wanted to have live. She wanted everything she was saying to go out live. It didn't work that way for her, though. No, it did not. But then Congressional Representative Boebert took a picture of Hillary from about this angle and sent it to Benny Johnson, who then posted it on X, and Hillary threw a giant fit. Her lawyers ended the deposition mid-testimony because a picture was leaked. I didn't know that a congressional investigation could be stopped just like that because a lawyer and Hillary got upset. I guess Queen Whore Hillary can't be photographed. And if she is, then the law and subpoenas no longer are legitimate. What the hell is going on around here? Great picture, Mr. Uman. Thank you for digging that one up. Wow. What do you guys think? I mean, I think basically Hillary pulled the same thing she did during the Whitewater investigations. You guys remember that? I think Special Counsel Ken Starr was appointed, and he was going to get to the bottom of it. And I think when Ken Starr did absolutely nothing to the Clintons, I gave up on thinking that any of these special investigations would amount to anything. And that was over 26 years ago. Yeah, so when congressional investigations come up, I don't really look at them like anything's going to happen. It's just a way to get us to pacify us little people. Pacify us. Yeah, the what you do is when you're asked a question, you say, I can't recall. I don't recall that. You see, if someone, let's just say someone said, John, did you meet Jeffrey Epstein? If I said yes, and it's a lie, then I'm lying. If I say no, and I had met him, then it would be a lie. But if I say, I can't recall, how do you prove someone can or can't recall? Even if I said last week, I met Jeffrey Epstein, and then I was asked the same question this week, I would say, I don't know. I can't seem to recall. Well, now I'm not lying. At least you can't be proven. And that's the Hillary Clinton defense. It is, I can't recall, I can't recall, I can't recall, or what difference does it make now? That was such a great speech from Hillary. These people are genuinely, thoroughly evil AF, right? Just evil, downright fucking evil. Mr. Man, I'm glad you're here today for the whole show. I really appreciate it. Everyone, you don't realize the effort that everyone goes through to make this show happen. I do, and I'm very grateful for it. And I'm grateful for you folks showing up day after day, week after week, especially on the Zoo broadcasts, but year after year. In fact, in the comments section, right before we fired up the old camera, there was a comment from Kelly in the California Bay Area there. And I was like, hey, I remember that name all the way back years ago, years and years and years ago, when I used to sit outside the fifth wheel command center of the Prepared Mind channel next to the tank, and I would do broadcasts then. Anyways, it's we got a lot of people been here a long time sticking with the program, right? If I've been saying get prepared, shit can hit the fan since, well, 2013, you would think people would be like, John, when's shit really going to hit the fan? Of course it did in 2020 with mandatory 2-week lockdowns, flatten the curve, lying to everybody, and then the jibbity jab. Yeah. That was it. And we've been in it ever since. And then, of course, the 2020 Summer of Love riots where they burned down $4.5 billion worth of property. I'd call that SHTF, I would. But since then, I mean, I haven't had to take my potassium iodide tablets for a nuclear attack. I haven't had to put on my my heat deflecting camouflage uniform so that I can't be seen by FLIR. You know, I haven't had to worry about alien invasion, but, you know, we're always right there, aren't we? And when you've got Hillary being threatened with knowing Jeffrey Epstein, I don't know where it goes from there. I mean, unless they've got pictures of Hillary with children committing crimes. Oh, wait, we've been told that those exist. We've been told that those exist. I would really like for those to be shown to her. You know, they were found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. They were called the Clinton insurance files. Crazy stuff. What do you think of this whole, we're gonna interview these Epstein pals? I think it's bullshit. If a crime has been committed and they have evidence, we don't need depositions. We don't need investigations. You need a fucking arrest right there. An arrest, right? But the pressure is growing. The pressure is mounting, and I'm enjoying it. In fact, another angle has been brought up the last couple of days by Nancy Mace, Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace, and essentially, you know, the swamp. I mean, the deep state is in huge panic because Nancy Mace now has also Congressman Massey co-signing her bill. She wants to sign a bill to force the House of Representatives to release the sexual misconduct and harassment reports. There's a slush fund that's been created to pay off people who are sexually harassed in Congress. Isn't that fucking amazing? If I did anything like that, sexually harass somebody, I could be reprimanded, demoted, fired, even sued. Right? I could be legally sued if I used my power and authority in a corporate environment to harm somebody or cause harm to come to them, or if they had to quit because of sexual harassment. These fucking people, we've got a congressman who demanded and demanded and demanded from a married woman who has a family that she send sexually explicit pictures of herself. And I still don't believe she set fire to herself as a consequence of this harassment. I don't know anyone who has ever thought suicide by fire is a great idea, because you just might fucking survive that. Most people, when they shoot themselves for suicide, do this one, or this one. If you know the Clintons, you tend to shoot yourself in the back of the head twice, sometimes while hanging yourself from a tree. It happens. In any event, Nancy Mace wants all of the records of everybody who has had to be paid off, which is kind of like bribery to shut the fuck up. Hush money. Shh, hush, right? Well, I say, you know what? Washington, Capitol Hill, Congress, the House, the Senate, even the Supreme Court, just fucking burn it all down. Expose them all and burn them all down. I'm not suggesting, folks, arson and damage. The phrase burn it down means just roast them all, expose them all. And I'm not doing the burning. You're not doing the burning. They burn themselves. We're just revealing it. It needs to be exposed. And yeah, that's why the swamp, the deep state, is panicking. Because not only do we have the Epstein files out there, but now we have this, right? Sexual misconduct in Congress. While all these people that are on the Epstein list pretend, right? And they're controlled by AIPAC, except for just a very few. That's the American-Israeli PAC. That's what I call them, a political action committee. Because that's what it is. Essentially, they're a bunch of fucking stooges for Israel. They need to be exposed. So there's a lot of movement out there, folks. A lot of push. In fact, there's something else that's been going on, and it's raising the levels of screaming anti-Semitism. You're all anti-Semites. You're Nazis. Now, remember the young man that went to Minnesota? And he found the Leering Center. And he started exposing the fraud, the theft, everyone who's on government welfare and taking government money for businesses that don't exist. Fraud. Well, that guy is a national hero. Well, another young man decided to find a couple of cities, a couple of towns, one of them in upstate New York, another one in New Jersey, where it wasn't Somalis, wasn't Somali immigrants committing fraud. Instead, it was Hasidic Jews. And instead of hailing this guy as a hero for exposing all of their fraud, essentially what he pointed out was there's communities that are completely and totally on welfare. These people are having as many kids as they can, and they're taking all kinds of government money for it. And then they're taking over the school boards and the city councils and redirecting funding. They have their own special Hasidic Jew police. Cars, school buses have writing that's not English on them. How the fuck does that help America? If you see an Israeli cop car or ambulance or whatever driving on the street, you don't even know what the fuck it is. So anyways, this guy that did that is not a hero like the guy that pointed out the fraud in Somalia. I mean, little Somalia, Minnesota, right? This guy points it out, and he's harassed by their police, harassed by real police, he has to explain to them what the First Amendment is, and it applies no matter whether they like it or not, whether they have little small hats on or not, whether they got funny little beards and hair. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It's First Amendment. They don't care. But now all of the pro-Israel types have circled the wagons. You see, a lot of the Jewish community was claiming they're not Zionists. They're not for genocide in Gaza. So don't associate us with that. But now that others in the community are being pointed out as fraud, and we need to get rid of all this fraud. I don't care if it's Somalis or fucking Nigerians or Jews or Swedes. I don't care. Fraud is fraud. Arrests. Just like, pedophilia is pedophilia. I don't care if you're a billionaire or not. Arrest. That's it. Burn them all down, expose them all, arrest them all. Let's clean this fucking country up. Drain the swamp. Why is it that we, you, me, Americans, why is it that we are the ones who have to expose the fraud and then scream drain the swamp while nothing happens? Nothing happens. Well, I tell you what, we were made to believe yesterday that the FBI, those guys, the good guys, the G-men, were doing law enforcement again when they raided the home of the Los Angeles School District, right? Well, they now told us a little bit of what's going on there. The FBI, this is an update follow-up to that story. There are allegations of fraud. Wait. I thought we just learned that fraud in Little Somalia, Minnesota, means you go cut their funding and arrest them. We got fraud in the Los Angeles School District, raid them with the FBI. You got fraud in Jewish communities in New York and New Jersey, and crickets. In fact, that guy is an anti-Semite, and someone else, I think it was Nick Sorter, whatever, the guy who did the Somalia thing, told the guy who did the other fraud, he was like, good job. And now he's being attacked. How dare you support a Nazi? He's like, he's not a Nazi. He's not an anti-Semite. He's pointing out fraud. Anyways, we got fraud in Los Angeles School District. In addition to the fraud, there's discrimination against white people. How about that? Discrimination is far, far worse, obviously. We all know discrimination is far worse than kidnapping, raping, hunting, killing, harvesting adrenochromated blood, and eating children. Everyone knows that. So that's why the FBI needed to go raid the Los Angeles School District for fraud and discrimination. But we don't need to bother billionaires, investment gurus, politicians, Victoria's Secret owners. We don't need to mess with those people because everyone knows fraud and discrimination is far worse than doing all those things. And Pam Bondi is a soulless wretch, and Crash Patel is a sack of bug-eyed shit. And both of them are liars, traitors, and co-conspirators who are working to protect Satanists, who sacrifice children to their gods Moloch and Baal. Good job, FBI. Way to show us you have all sold out to Satan himself and his synagogue, of course, because you ultimately stop the Somali fraud, or some of it. You go and you raid a school district, but make sure you don't arrest any of these really, really bad guys. Oh, yeah, you bet, folks. It's going to get better. And while we're doing updates, I've got another update follow-up story. We talked about that Florida registered speedboat where it was speeding through, Cuban waters, and it was being pursued by Cuban Shore Patrol, Cuban Coast Guard, whatever you want to call them. and they shot at the Cubans. So the Cubans ended up killing several of them. They actually released the name of one person. Or wait a minute, Cuba's Coast Guard has identified an American citizen, right? Because the New York Post actually reported that one of the passengers who was killed was identified as an American. And this guy's name was Michael Ortega Casanova. He's been in the United States for 20 years. He's a Cuban. A Cuban on a boat with others, breaking the rules and shooting at Cuban Coast Guard. So why were they there again? Drugs, human smuggling, human trafficking. I guess we're going to go to war over a criminal enterprise. It's unbelievable, folks. Yes, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is very upset about this, and he wants an investigation. Tune in next week to see if we're going to go to war. And speaking of war, we still haven't started bombing the shit out of Iran. You guys ready for World War III with China, Russia, Iran, and Israel? Well, China's upped the stakes yet again. China has said, if you, America, do anything, we will cut you off of all critical minerals that we produce, which really includes, most notably, rare earths. And there's some consternation that's been revealed. Oh, you're going to love this shit. The consternation is who throws the first punch. You see, Israel wants the United States of America to throw the first punch. America, and it's been released, says no. Israel throws the first punch. Iran attacks Israel, and the United States attacks Iran for attacking their ally Israel, who actually started this shit by attacking Iran first. So if Israel attacks Iran and Iran retaliates against Israel, and then the U.S. responds against Iran for attacking their ally, well, if Israel attacks Iran first, shouldn't Russia or China respond and attack Israel and say, how dare you attack our allies? But yeah, the PR is that the United States shouldn't be the first aggressor. And so we sit and we wait and we watch and we wonder. But there's something else that's going on here. Another game is being played, has been released. And again, China. Ooh, man, I know that you know that I know that you know. Hey, Norton pal, huh? Humana. Yeah, I know that you know. We all know. But there's another piece to this World War III buildup and shakeout. China let everyone know that they know, that we know that they know, and China knows that if the United States attacks Iran, that within 1 week, the United States of America will be significantly depleted of their high-tech arsenals that are on these naval ships and Air Force bases. What does that do to America? Well, it won't stop, or it would not allow China or Russia to invade the United States of America. We still have all of our nuclear weapons. But China knows that if we expend all of our traditional, albeit high-tech, but traditional missiles and rockets, that China can invade Taiwan, and the U.S. military is way over there by Iran with depleted arsenals. So America really can't do anything to Iran because that risks losing Taiwan. So who's more important? Does America need to defend Israel or an ally of ours that actually makes things that we need? the high-tech productive capability of Taiwan. What do you think, folks? What do you think? Now, we also reported yesterday, I got a follow-up story. In Hungary, Ukraine took out the gas supply, right? The energy supply. They attacked Hungary. Ukraine attacked Hungary. They also attacked and fucked up Slovakia, both these countries, by destroying, blowing up a fucking pipeline. Geez, when did we hear this last? Oh, yeah. The Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines that Ukraine, England, and the United States of America blew up to punish Russia, which only punished Europe. But wait a minute. It allowed America to send its LNG, liquefied natural gas, and start selling massive amounts of our energy to Europe. Well, Hungary is now deploying troops. Hungary is sending its military troops not to the Russian border to fight Russia, but they're sending troops to the Ukrainian border to protect their energy facilities, their pipelines, their bulk tanks, whatever it is they have. And Viktor Orban, the prime minister of Hungary, says, quote, Ukraine is preparing further actions to disrupt the Hungarian energy system. In addition to bringing troops, Hungary has now banned the use of drones over their country by anyone who isn't licensed, sanctioned, and Hungarian. So Hungary's energy sector, that's national security, folks, was attacked by Ukraine. Well, wait a minute. If Israel attacks Iran and Iran attacks Israel, so the United States then says, hey, you attacked our ally, we're going to attack you, Iran. Well, NATO has a similar arrangement. I think it's in Article 5, where if any NATO country is attacked by a non-NATO member, then all of NATO is supposed to come to their rescue and attack whoever attacked them. Well, Hungary was attacked by Ukraine, not a NATO member. And they didn't do anything. It's because NATO and the European Union, in my opinion, have sanctioned, authorized, blessed that little fruitcake Zelensky to attack their ally. NATO failed to defend Hungary, right? And Hungary's a NATO member. Europe is at war with itself, in other words, folks. They're trying to win an unwinnable war against Russia using a perverted Nazi army in Ukraine, pushing the Israeli dream of conquering Russia and setting up their banking and commercial systems. That's really what this comes down to. And to finish up the monologue portion, I would like you guys get your questions down below. Mr. Uman's in the big moderator seat. And thank you again, Mr. Uman, for giving us your very valuable time. I know that busy, right? We are busy. You're especially busy. It's them again, Yogi. Hey, boo-boo, right? Gee, Yogi, and it is them again. Get this, folks. A transgender fruitcake, a transgender butt pirate, has been charged with attempted murder after shooting at a Border Patrol agent near the Canadian border. Once again, folks, it's them again, right? Now, just let me ask you this question. What religion accepts, approves, and endorses transgenderism as having legitimate social status? There's only one. There's only one. All right, everyone, it is now time for your inner circle comments, questions, thoughts. Let's get to it. You got it. You are the inner circle, and it's time to Ask John live. And you can be here live Monday through Friday if you're a member a guerrilla warrior member of the preparedmind.club, subscribestar.com. Yes, sirree, Bob. Go to those places. Thepreparedmind.club. Sign up. There's a little premium button at the top there because we need guerrilla funding to keep the channel alive. In fact, I talked about the young guy that exposed the Somali fraud in Minnesota. Well, the other young guy that exposed all of the Jewish Israeli fraud, guess what happened to him? He wasn't arrested, wasn't shot. No. Yes, he's being called a Nazi and an anti-Semite. I know. He suffered the same fate as the Prepared Mind channel. Patreon canceled his entire Patreon network. That's right. You can expose fraud. You can expose the bad guys, but you cannot do anything against God's chosen people. They were promised, folks. They were promised New York and New Jersey 3,000 years ago. So Patreon, which is, I guess they're run by the same people, this same tribal organization. Whoops. Once again, folks, it's them. It's always them. It's the Islamic types and the Israeli types and the fruitcake types and the sellout types that take money from these people and sell out our country. It's hard to believe that people could be a traitor to their own country for a mere couple $1 million. Just absolutely wow. Okay, Mr. Uman, what are we going to start with content-wise? And Mikey G says the censor has the day off. Yeah, interestingly, I wrote a couple things in the comments, and voila, there they were. The censor, we're not being silenced on the preparedmind.club and Subscribe Star message boxes. How about that? Very nice. Thank you, Mikey G. Mr. Uman, who's up next? Courageous Cat says America is everyone's ATM. You bet. ATM. Automatic teller machine. Isn't that what ATM stands for, Uman? We've been using ATMs since the 1980s. Yeah, back in 1988 and 87, I think, is when they really came out. That's a long time ago. America's the ATM of the world. All they have to do is go up and, well, I guess push someone's button and they get money. You go up and you push a button and, hey, you get daycare money. You get welfare for your kids. You get free food. You get private schooling funded. America is everyone's favorite ATM. If you're another country, you just beg America. Can we have some more money? And in fact, what was the country? I'm trying to remember the name of the country that said, please do not send our refugees back. It could destabilize our country. It could make things worse here. I think that was actually Syria. Syria is telling the world, don't send our people back. Yeah, because they sent the very worst of them out of the country. Right? They're like, hey, you guys go to Europe, go to America, get the fuck out of this country. We don't have any jobs, right? There it is. America's favorite ATM, we're the world's ATM, we're the world's babysitters, we're the world's everything. Uman says stopping that would solve a huge chunk of our debt problem. You know, when Trump was first inaugurated, I'll speak for myself only, I was shocked at how well he was doing. He was saying and starting to do the right things. They brought out Doge. Elon Musk and his team of college-aged computer wizards, and they started the Department of Government Efficiency, and they started finding fucking fraud after crazy amounts of fraud. USAID, that was there. And they're like, hey, look at this, billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of fucking dollars getting sent around. And they pointed out all kinds of fraud. Elon Musk was like, hey, we're going to have some major arrests tomorrow. There were no arrests. No arrests. And then they got rid of Doge. Now they're trying to replace it. They have something else. Is it the White House fraud unit? They came up with some bullshit at the State of the Union. We're going to solve the fraud problem. It's like, are you out of your bullshit? It's all bullshit. You know, we've got a debt problem, and there's a lot of chunks. Ooh, man, I'd like to see more than just the illegals. I would like to see them, well, just everything deported. Stop all the money from leaving this country to any other country until we get the shit straightened out here. Right? How can you clean up the neighborhood if your own house is a frickin' wreck? It's kind of how I see it again. Good golly. All right, Mr. Uman, let us continue, shall we? We got Diving Frog, and he says, John, I saw where Bongina, that would be Dan Bongino, who's lovingly known as Bongina. He had a meltdown on the air telling Candace Owen that he hoped she would burn in hell and the flames kiss her body. How is he still around? Well, he does, believe it or not. Dan Bongina, the man who did nothing while serving as Secret Service for the Clintons. How much crime do you think he saw in the Clinton White House? I mean, we heard about Bill Clinton through testimony sodomizing Monica Lewinsky with a cigar. That's right, folks. Sodomizing. Look up what the word means. Pretty important stuff. And that they also had, and this occurred to me just the other day when Lewinsky came up again, they had pizza parties. Remember that shit, man? Pizza parties in the kitchen. That's what they called it. Now we know what a fucking pizza party is, don't we? And oh, by the way, Monica Lewinsky, a Jewish, Monica Lewinsky seems pretty much like a honeypot, don't you think? Anyways, Bongina didn't say anything about that. And then he was a tough talking dude. Yeah, tough talker. And then he did nothing. He did nothing while working as the deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. A lot of people said he really wasn't qualified to hold that position. Not only is he not qualified, in my opinion, he did absolutely jack shit while in that position, except lie to us. He was great at lying to us. He was good at delaying and obfuscating everything while he was lying to us. And he protected and covered up the Jeffrey Epstein pedophilia network, as well as who knows how many other pedophilia networks. So he leaves that job, probably because of all the pressure. And now he's back to doing social media broadcasts. And there is a small amount of people still interested in following him. There is. Small amount. So you ask, how is this guy still around? Because there are just enough people listening to him to give him some relevance. But he is becoming unhinged. Unhinged. And I mean unfucking hinged. He's very close to threatening literal violence. He does not like Candace Owens because she is exposing details. Details about Charlie Kirk. Details about Erica Kirk. Don't you find it fascinating that a Secret Service agent, former deputy director of the FBI, is attacking a private citizen who is researching the very public and mysterious execution and circumstances around the cleaning up of that execution? Instead of saying, hey, when you get some solid evidence, turn it over to the Justice Department. Wouldn't that be what a G-man would say? Wouldn't that be what a Secret Service agent should say? Hey, if you have credible evidence, turn it in. But instead, he's attacking people. Woo! Yeah, Dan Bongina is a giant, well, Bongina. I have no respect for the guy. What has he seen? What does he know? There are grown men, folks, on TikTok, Instagram, X, all over social media, coming close to being in tears out of frustration and anger and concern for their own children and this nation and the whole world, because nothing is being done. They are reading the Epstein files that are out there. They're watching the videos and looking at the pictures that people have unredacted, decoded, discovered, and people are getting, well, ill. They're physically ill. They're sick. They're disgusted by what's going on. And Bajina and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi all know. They all know. Now, interestingly, something like this makes America a setup for strange, what are known as bedfellows. There's a lot of Democrats that agree with me and you guys. They want the Epstein files released, but not because they're moral and good. Because remember, Democrats want children to have drag queens exposing their genitals to them in class and having drag queen story hour. They want transgenders. They want to transgender children. Democrats are fucking evil. I think I've made that pretty clear. But they want the Epstein files released. One reason. TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. They're so interested in getting Trump that they're willing to expose everybody. I want them all exposed. I'm no longer considering myself a partisan in this. It is now good versus evil. If they had a good party and an evil party, now that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Instead, we have a two-party system, and both parties are pretending to be the good guys, while neither party does anything to fix our problems, and both parties pretend to care while they pander to what they consider to be their voting base. We are in for a hell of a rude awakening, folks. We're all being distracted. Everything's a distraction. Epstein is a distraction from Israel wanting to take over the Middle East and create what they call Greater Israel. They're using the Iran-Israel thing to distract us from the problems we have with commodities and our entire financial and economic system and how we're struggling just to keep above board. Right? Everything's a distraction for the other thing. The other thing. The Somali thing, well, that was a distraction. Now we got the Clintons out here. That's a distraction. But, you know, there's another distraction out there. And anyways, they're everywhere. But there is this claim that there is a segment, a file folder, a special file folder that has Trump Epstein documentation in it. And that it's being hidden by the Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office, and the FBI. And that these files contain very damning information about Trump and alleged rape allegations, as well as other documentation and complaints about Trump. Folks, it goes all the way to the top. Right? In fact, no position of power or assumed authority, right? There's no one above it. They're all above the law, but none of them are above these incredibly evil things. Picture came out of Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, John Roberts, hanging out in Epstein's Island with Epstein and Clinton. And a picture of him snuggling with Jizzy Maxwell. That's right, folks, Ghislaine Maxwell. But don't worry, they're all strange bedfellows, aren't they? Jizzy Maxwell's own sister, or is it sisters? I think she's got two sisters. They control and have access to FBI databases through their companies. So once again, the daughter of the head of Mossad, or daughters of the head of Mossad, Mr. Maxwell, are in control of and have access to government information and control information that goes to the government law enforcement, the FBI. How can they be allowed to be there? Knowing, one, their association via their sister and her association with Epstein. You can't be mad enough. You can't be outraged enough. You can't be disgusted enough. But the violence is going to come. The violence is going to come. By the way, there was a secret closed circuit television system. Actually, it wasn't closed circuit. It was cloud-based. Cloud-based security and surveillance systems at Jeffrey Epstein's island. And everyone seemed to have missed it. Everyone seems to have missed it. Turns out, I guess now the FBI has gotten access to it and has turned it off. There should be a lot of surveillance footage, don't you think, that would be on those cameras. Maybe children running for their fucking lives while they're being hunted. Children stripped naked and chased by men in red shoes. Oh, there's so much in the movies, folks. There was a movie that Tom Hanks did. Everyone knows who Tom Hanks is and his affiliation with Epstein and the Obamas and child whatever. A lot of accusations that he's a child raping, cannibalistic, satanic piece of shit. But he did a movie called The Man with One Red Shoe. What an odd name for a movie, huh? Man, there's so many of these movies that they do where they let out little pieces of this stuff. In any event, let's continue. Mr. Uman, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel? We've got Yankee Watchdog. And he says, S2 Underground said they were all Cubans in a stolen Florida boat. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Why would Cuba, though, release that one of the people, and they gave his name, was an American citizen? Basically, he self-exiled himself from Cuba, right? He fled Cuba 20 years ago, is an American citizen, and is showing back up. It wouldn't surprise me. The boat being stolen, folks, Cubans don't have a whole lot of money. They don't have a whole lot of money down there. It's a very rich and beautiful island, allegedly, but it's being run by a bunch of, communist pieces of shit. You know, a bunch of, let's see, what's the leadership in Cuba? Let's see, they're rapists, kidnappers, communists, corrupt, murderous scum. Sounds a lot like the governments of Europe and North America, don't you think? Sounds a lot like the governments of, Eastern Africa and the Middle East, don't you think? And the Far East. How about that? Lots of interesting news going on, folks. Yesterday, the COMEX shut down for, depending on the thing, it shut down for a couple hours. And now there's a company that has been exposed as having the single largest holding. And they're noted for, GameStop and killing other companies like Bed Bath & Beyond. They're serial shorters and destroyers of companies using the stock market. They tried doing it to silver yesterday, and now they've been exposed. And the guy that runs the show looks like he wears a funny little hat. Looks like he could be one of the tribe. Anyways, he is the very same guy, and it's called Jane Street. You can look up Jane Street and find out who they are. Even Trump's companies have filed lawsuits or filed complaints against them. But now there's lawsuits. By the way, remember the guy Sam Bankman-Fried? Sam Bankman-Fried. He's this fat little guy with squinty eyes and a bad beard and curly hair. And he's a dork. But he had control of about $50 billion that he stole to FTX. Remember FTX? A couple years ago when Biden was president, turns out they were taking money, laundering it through Ukraine, and using shell companies to funnel the money back to American politicians, Democrats. FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, as soon as he got out of college, was hired by the guy who runs and started Jane Street. They're trying to control and destroy and steal money from you. If you have a 401k, if you have an IRA, if you have a retirement, these people are looting all of us day in, day out. But they're starting to get their tails in a crack, folks. They're starting. It's interesting. I say watch silver for the next 30 days and gold and watch what they do. Citigroup, it's Citigroup, but it's the fifth largest bank in the country. Fifth largest bank in the country, Citi, says by the end of March, silver is going to be $100. In 3 months, it'll be $250. The fifth largest bank says that about silver? Well, I thought silver was supposed to be down at $30, $25. Oh yeah, and I think JP Morgan says gold is going to be up to $9,300 by the end of the year per ounce. You see, it's an indictment. It's an indictment of the monetary system, the financial system, the economic system, government fiscal spending, money printing, international trade, and a shortage of things of value. Buckle up, folks. Be prepared. Have food. I strongly suggest, at least 6 months of food. Because you're going to start with things went bad, and it was just me and my little family, but other members of my family remembered I was a prepper. And so they're going to come try and live with you. Neighbors will ask you. And I'll remind everyone, if things get really bad, do not eat well. Eat well enough. Make sure you lose weight if everyone else is losing weight. If everyone else looks like shit because they're hungry, they're not getting the food they want, smear a little bit of dark makeup on your eyes, right? Get a little bit of mascara on your fingers and smear it. You know, make your eyes look sunken and sickly. Make yourself look like shit. Even though you may feel pretty good and you're eating pretty well. Make sure you've got food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. They could crunch. They could crash our economy. They could crash the stock market again. They're looking at doing that. Why? Distraction, of course. Mr. Ooman, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? What do we want to discuss? Ooman, moderator, producer. Man, he's not really a producer by title, but hell, he produces, right? Produces good stuff. Courageous Cat checks in and says, I think that's the plan. It is to allow China to take Taiwan. It's their part of the regional New World Order. Yes, that's a very interesting concept. It is a popular and widely held conspiracy theory that, yes, they're dividing up the planet into regions, geographic regions, and Taiwan is just off the coast of China. I think it's 50 miles or so. And so China says Taiwan's always been a part of China. I guess God promised China 2,000 years ago they'll always have Taiwan. But yeah, I think that this is the claim that they're making deals. They're like, okay, Israel wants Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, part of Egypt. And so they want their stuff. And America, you need to take Canada and Mexico, and you can make that, and Cuba, and Central America, and the northern part of, South America, Colombia we've heard about, Venezuela we've heard about. Hell, let's just throw in Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina. Fuck it, it's all right. The American thing. Good God, crazy business. It is, but it would almost seem that China taking Taiwan just would be a simple thing for them. Except America has threatened we'll go to war with you over it. I don't know if you know about all of the island nations, Polynesians, Melanesians, Micronesians. They all have these little islands out there. The Cook Islands, New Caledonia, Palau, Saipan, Micronesia, the Society Islands, Solomon Islands. There's a lot of islands out there. And the worry is that once China takes Taiwan, they're going to try expanding through the islands and archipelagos of the Pacific. Japan tried that once, World War II. And it was extremely messy. It was dirty. But I mean, China could go after Indonesia. Indonesia is a big one. Malaysia, the Philippines. Those are some big island chains there, right? May as well. I mean, if China's going to take that, may as well go after and try taking Myanmar and Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, all the way up to India. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fucking weird and messy. But being prepared, I think, is key. All the supplies you need, as mentioned, especially this, because no one's going to protect you or me or anyone if shit goes wonky. We're going to be on our own. Are you prepared for that up here? Are you prepared for what goes on local? And are you prepared for what's happening internationally? I strongly recommend going to thepreparedmind.club. Go to our communications section and get yourself a world band radio, shortwave radio, so you can listen to what's going on around the world. You can get one with solar power, or just get yourself a Jackery or other solar power battery storage system to protect yourself. I now have a little Jackery unit that's been part of the bunker now for quite a while, as well as a one of the solar panels that I brought back from the RMZ. I've got one of those and my original battery system from there. It's nostalgic, but also I want to be prepared, folks. I want to be prepared with about 600 watts of battery backup. Anyways, you do what you have to. Get prepared. Oh, man, we're at the end of the show, man. What do you think we should be talking about here to wrap it up? A deplorable Yankee redneck checking in. He says, Israel has to attack one of our ships before the war is started. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. The sailors on the American ships are all well aware now, because of the internet, because of social media, they're all well aware of the attack by Israel on the USS Liberty, a naval warship that was attacked by the nation of Israel from the air with bombs and guns. And they were strafed, they were set on fire, they were bombed. Many people were killed, lots of people injured, burnt. And Israel doesn't have any problem with false flags. In fact, it's one of their creations, along with gaslighting. Gaslighting, false flags, guilt. Right, that's part of the gaslighting game. You know, things like the Holocaust. We got that. But yeah, they're really good at playing the victim, even after they played the victim after being exposed for bombing an American warship and killing American fighting men, naval sailors, right? But what are they going to do? Also, the Israelis invented terrorism proper, and how to use terrorism for political purposes. When they were invited into Palestine in 1948, they immediately created 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 different terror organizations and started terrorizing the region. Those terror organizations eventually came together and formed the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. And that is how I'm going to end the show. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Go to the club, folks, thepreparedmind.club, and get what you need. I'll see you tomorrow.